is this, and it's running on NZD, USD, or GU, EU. And basically, the first two systems to the last one, you probably will be able to implement it like me. It's not mechanical whatsoever. It's completely discretionary and based on my experience of reading the way that the interaction with an underlying products market, particularly EU and GU in that case, goes on, and what sort of interest is left at a certain region of prices that is likely to take effect within the next bar, top down though, throughout many time frames. So you're in alignment with what sort of interaction is supposed to go on, blah 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 blah. Now this is also kind of similar. TTFM is T trades fractal model, blah 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 blah. And the name of this is most. I don't know what this is, to be honest. I've kind of forgot, but I know that it's top-down recent bar close analysis, analysing the region of prices analysing the region of prices traders have. I don't even know. Market participants were willing to trade to participate in the way they that what way to the blah blah X region, X relative region. I've got no idea what that stands for, to be honest. But anyway, what it consists of is the daily time frame, the 1 hour time frame, and the 5-minute time frame. And basically you get so you're utilizing basically the T trades daily bias method. So if you get close below, these lines are actually from the prior bar. So this bar, this red line is saying that this day is poised to have bearish interaction, primarily, or that's the most probable interaction to get on board with. It doesn't mean that for example, that bearish interaction could play out and then it could go bullish for the rest of the day, like we'll see here. But it's not probable to get on board that, right? It's probable to get on board on the bearish based on how the most recent bar closed the way it did and then what sort of intent is left within this region on this occasion, which is the occasion is the day in this case, because it's the daily chart, right? But I'm not just taking any for example, wick below, target the high, yeah, that works, right? But I'm just utilizing SABC, strong, and that to make bar closers, right? So a strong one-sided intent where it's clear and it's distinct. There's a distinct one-sided level of interest, distinct high level of one-sided interest, where the prices what are available appeal to participants that are operating on this occasion, or this occasion, whatever, you get the gist, to pair up with one side of the market primarily, whilst them prices are whatever they are within that region, right? And it doesn't if it goes to the high, I'm still looking for a setup, right? So anyway, we'll just do this trade, and then maybe we'll go on another one just so you can kind of get the memo. On one of the other pairs we use, we'll just go on the EU standard one. Loads of people know EU, so yeah. Anyway, so then what we'll do is you'll mark up the SABC. So look at this strong rejection of this region. You strongly wicking it, and then this strong bullish interaction lasts way up to the close. It's likely that this region of prices on this occasion, I am marking up to the point where I would anticipate traders to be inclined towards participating in that one-sided way relative to the most recent bar close and what most recent interest was exhibited at this region on this occasion within this day, because with regard to how these prices replicate those to which we have already seen what sort of one-sided level of interest has been applied to them prices, in terms of how whoever's been operating on this occasion have been inclined to do business with the market at this place, with the marketplace at this region, And I am also considering, how the motors and bar close in the context of what consecutive bar pushes in play, and then also what at-hand pushes in play. So as you can see, at-hand push play, it's just rejecting the lows, and then slightly just flip. Consecutive bar push in play, you've kind of got like if it pushed the downside, you would rejecting the lows. It's slightly just have a reversal, to be honest, or the reversal is near, and you would refer to it as. Now, this is all experience, so don't expect to understand it. It is what it is, just what I've accumulated over time. And yeah, so and the reason why I'm looking at the market in the context of like the consecutive bar push, what's in place region, and how that recent bar close the way it did amongst whatever consecutive bar push in place the region it is sat at amongst, and what at-hand push in play the recent bar close is sat amongst, is to discern what sort of intent exists around that region, how that region's being treated and seen as of worth to pair up with the contrast placed at those prices where the underlying products available to be bought and sold at, and volumes able to be transacted at. So then what I'm doing is I'll then drop to the 1 hour as of the new given day, and what I will do is I'll come to the charts at 7 till 10, that's your time period as usual, and so even if it's 7 till 10, what I'll do is I'll assess what the most well, first of all, I'll see whether there's been a CISD. And you're tracking like external CISDs too. So it's like, if you just follow them across there, I don't want to clutter my chart up, but like you got here. This is like your external legs. So you don't have to be too particular with it. It's just kind of experience again. Obviously with non-religious overall structure, that's also relative to me. Non-religious overall structure is just like for example, right here, some people classify this as the high. I personally wouldn't. I would say that this is the high, right? So it's completely based on experience. But with CISDs, you're a little bit less religious than non-religious structure, but you're also not religious, right? So it's like, and I don't expect you to understand any of this, but like I'm just showing you what models I'm occupied with. Also, pretty much for my own sake too. But anyway, so the CISD point for me would be, I kind of like to look at where like the last opposing cardinals before an expansive isn't even a word, so I know that, but like an impulsive expansion, like away from a region where like there had been up close bars, and that is kind of here, but like these bull closers weren't really that bullish, right? It was kind of just like in a consecutive bar push manner. I would just classify these as like one consecutive bar push, right? So I would probably say it's like here, but I would also consider this too, to be honest. 1 hour, and I would also look at this, right? But to be honest, I would probably be like, for example, if this hadn't been touched, I would have been still happy with this. This is fine for a CISD, so you can see how it's completely experience based. And then basically the leg that led up until the open, we're then looking for POI that resides within that leg in the context of what sort of interactions supposed to go on within this region. That would make sense to see the market push to, and then have a nice 1 hour bar close at. And for me, that would be here. So this FVJ, right? So I know it's tapped into, but I'd want another tap into. So then what you do is you then go to 7. And you can see the market did tap into this region, but there wasn't a nice bar close. So what you would be doing is you just, in my case, like, you've took Asia low, you're in this general region of prices. This would be fine to actually get involved in off the bat, and you can see a nice bar close. You don't need a playable range or whatever. And then anyway, you would then basically drop down to the 5-minute chart as of 7, and you would then just simply look for the 5-minute CISD. And this is a really good model. Yeah, so I think I've got it already marked up. That would be this would be pretty cool. So we'll literally just do it real time. So I'll just scroll left. I'm not going to look into it like from here. So you drop down as of 7, and then you look to see where, like, and it's also experience based, like where I discern the CISD. So here I wouldn't discern it. I would say this is the CISD leg. So I'm kind of like looking at it from like a bit more of a zoomed out perspective. It's like I'm not being religious with things. Like, people would probably mark this, and I wouldn't. I would be waiting for this. That's not clean, especially for the 5-minute chart, right? So I know everything is fractal, but still, there's a little bit more. There's a little bit more room for like a little bit less trustable price action to go on within a 5 minute time period because there's less time, you know. So anyway, you then go into the 5 minute, and you're then scrolling, and then you see that you get a nice close above, and then basically what you're doing is you're assessing, would you be happy with entering on the CISD itself, or like, is it just not clean and you would want to see a retracement, meaning like you're too high up within the leg. It would make sense to, even though there's points to go, it would make sense to have a possible retracement, which you would just want to stay out of the way, out of the potential way out of that potential scenario unfolding. So what I would look for is, personally, I would look for this FEJ, right? And I can actually see, I just noticed here, that is, I think, what I was looking for. Also, the market mustn't, like, in context with like what legs are going on, like, so the size of this leg, the size of this leg, if the market just soared really expansively, I know that's not a word, impulsively, I just like to refer to it as expansion, you know, because it's like expanding away, like impulsively. I guess you could just refer to it as that instead of expansively. It doesn't really make sense, that, does it? You would want to cut the idea, but like in this case, it's completely fine. This is like a star, right? Literally. And then basically, you get tapped in here, and then what you're doing, I don't even know if, I can't remember if the price action came down to here, but just so, because I know that if I adjust this, this will turn blue, and this will turn lighter because it'll be tagged, right? So I've just spat on my screen. So I'll use my crosshair for like, I mean, like, I'm not distorting myself, right? So that's why I'm like implementing real time, and then like, yeah. So anyway, you'd be entering here, you assess here, and basically what you're doing is you're assessing the amount of pips that like you're risking. So it's 40. That's not that much, and then you assess, and then this is the lower hand here, right? And then what you're doing is you're comparing that lower hand with the price action to the left, on top of however much, like on top of like true value pip digits, right? Like whole pip digits. So your next pip digit would be 0.5. That's kind of nothing. Your next pip digit would be 10, and that's maybe it's a bit too much. And then also the context of this price action to the left, it's a bit weird actually, because this data is, I don't even know where they get this data from, to be honest, because the market isn't even open on the futures market. I don't really know, but there's a gap here, and yeah, I know it's tagged into, but still it could easily go down, and this low is a bit sus, to be honest. You definitely wouldn't want to stop here, that's for sure. So to be honest, what I would probably do is I would just go with half of this zone, and that is where my stop basically is. And you can see I'm not distorting myself here, because I could have easily said, oh, put your stop here, yeah, whatever, 1 to 3. No. It's a 1 to 1.5 risk to reward system, this, by the way. So it's like really clean for, I'm just going to leave this on actually, because it's quite nice. I think I might also screenshot this. Just leave it like this. It's a 1 to 1.5 system. Oh shit. So it's really clean. It's and high probable shit too. Like, I mean, you've got a lot of like, it's just so, I can't explain it, but with experience you can kind of, with having gone through hundreds of strategies, literally probably in the hundreds actually, you kind of get a feel for what's robust. Now, when you've got like a daily bias, you've got, in terms of discerning like a region relative to the daily where a certain intensive post it and fold, you then see the 1 hour setup appropriately, you then get 1 hour confirmation, you then get 5 minute time frame confirmation, and you're also kind of waiting for the appropriate circumstances relative to the 1 hour and 5 minute. It's just really, really robust. and as you can see, it messes about a bit. I guess I was about to swear, but whatever. And then yeah, it easily goes to 1 to 1.5. And with this, you could easily risk 1.5%. I'm not sure about 2. I haven't done much research into it, but I definitely have done enough to say you could risk 1.5%. So yeah, you get the gist. I'm just gonna run over one other example. I think I know I said I was gonna do. In fact, I think we do GU. I think it was a straight. Yeah. I know I said I was gonna do GU, but at EU, but I remember there wasn't a trade. So anyway, there was actually like a possibility of a trade setting up today, but there wasn't. Anyway, here you can see I've got the daily based on this region of like a daily strong close, but there's like a strong intent. Whereas in the daily context as of the given day, in terms of what prices are available as of the given day, and how in the context of the daily time frame traders participate in that context are poised to interact with those prices. So then obviously you drop into the 1 hour, then you'll assess like where's most appropriate to see the market set up. You think this is like pristine. Yeah. So what you do is you assess the market like as of and then for example in the standard strategy, like the first method that I showed, you could easily, there could be certain scenarios where like where the market's at here, it would be most appropriate to see the market come to the 0.6 based on you could have like the 9 hour, the 9 hour, the 3 hour, the daily, like wick rejecting recent bar closes as of this given day, and there's like a possibility for a retracement, but also there's a higher probability that you can look for longs, but you wouldn't want to get involved straight off the bat, and you would want to step out of the potential way of a retracement. So what you would do is you would then want to see the market set up appropriately. You could maybe even if you drew the fib up and there was like this zone right here, you could then just see a nice 1 hour close here. But in this context, you've got a really strong daily bar close. So and it's like this in this case is you want to see a push below here, and then anyway what you would be doing is you'd be then going to the market as of 7, and you would then reassess market as of 9. Like in this case, it's already CISD'd up to the open. What you then do is you assess whether it would make sense to just get involved straight off the bat, or whether it makes sense to look for a retrace. Now, in this case, you would not want to get involved straight off the bat. Just like you just simply wouldn't. I mean, look at the reason why I'm listing what I'm about to list here is just so you can kind of get somewhat of an idea or gist into why I would want to see a retrace and not get involved straight off the bat. Now, it's because look at this. About half of this wick, so you can see it's completely experience based. And anyway, I don't even think let me just see here. Yeah, you would want to have half of this wick, right? So that's actually the wrong entry, but still is a bit. Oh, well, it would actually be here. Yeah. And then what you would be doing is you would be marking up the lower hand like this. So the lower hand is like the lowest, like just this. So if you're entering here, where's the lower hand? It's here. And then what you're doing is you're assessing the price action to the left and what whole pip digit this amount is. Now it's 60. So then what's the next one? It's 10, right? So then you go to 10. Is that enough? And the price action to the left, well, the price action to the left is kind of relatively the same, right? So actually, you could then zoom out even further. There's even more price action to the left. And after this, I'm gonna get some lunch because I'm fucking starving. Alright, so it's not much help to be honest. I would more rather go off what's clean. So it's that's not clean to me. hang on, like, let me just, like, if I just go into real time. So we would be entering on this bar right here, right? So and then look at this. That low looks like it's good to go, right? I would look for maybe somewhere around here. So I'd give a good, what I'd do is I'd give a good amount below, and I'd kind of see, you know. So I would probably say that 12.5 would be okay. That's, yeah. That's like, under these circumstances, that is okay, to be honest. And then obviously you're targeting a 1 to 1.5. And then what I've also noticed is, like, the context of, like, you know, the leg overall that led down to the point that you're entering at, like, and then the risk to reward niche thing that I've picked up upon. Whereas if, like, you know, relative to your sessions, your risk to reward is something tight relative to your sessions, then that's good. You're probably positioned okay, but, like, it's probably something to do with my intuitive, like, picked up upon, like, neurological links with the ATR. Like, honestly, that's gonna sound like me. What the fuck's this kid talking about? But, like, honestly, like, it doesn't make sense that, like, if you've got a stop loss like this, right, and then you obviously real time too, you're looking at this, so this hasn't happened, and then your stop loss is something, your target for a 1 to 1.5, which is quite big, is something like this. It doesn't make sense. So let's put it back to what it was. Oh god. Oh shit. Great. Oh, I didn't also realise this was GU. I honestly thought this was like AU or something. So that's even more confluence for me, because, like, I know that, like, a 10 point, like this just isn't clean. Like, even a like even a 25 is a bit iffy. I would probably just go about there, to be honest. Like, this is GU too, so, like, I'm quite familiar with this, because obviously I've traded it for like a year plus now, actually. And same with EU, so I'm quite confident with them. So that's why I'll always like to implement stuff on them. So yeah, that's the second thing, which runs on GU, AU, NU, and EU. It's really good too. It's sick. But, like, it does need a bit more testing, but you could definitely just trade it for sure. It's robust enough. Especially if you've got the experience. You probably don't want to do that if you don't have the experience in general, and you probably don't even want to do it really in general, actually. If you've even got the experience, you probably want to just give it a good test over like a year. So yeah, that's it.